All right, friends, welcome. Here's chapter 2 of Aunt Barb's Magic Oven, this one entitled Over the River and Through the Woods. The plane landed in the dark, so I couldn't see that well outside. A fellow passenger told me that the Pittsburgh airport sits on a shaved down mountaintop. It's kind of hazy now. This all happened long ago, back in the early 80s. But I seem to remember his saying that if we came in too low, we'd plow into a cliff. If the pilot came in too fast, we'd roll off the other end of the runway and into the Ohio River. He suggested that we do like the cockpit crew and say a prayer and have another drink. That sounded good to me. Truthfully, to this day, I don't really know what that airport looks like. I had my eyes closed when we landed, or as we landed. My cousin Barbie and her boyfriend Rick met me at the airport with hugs and handshakes. It wouldn't be much longer and they'd be getting married. It was easy for me to spot them in the lobby. I just looked for one large person with two heads and four legs. They were in that joint at the hip stage young couples go through. I know, a wonderful time. I enjoyed seeing that they were happy as clams. Rick said how cool it was to see all those sparks coming out from out of the landing gears. My plane's pilot stood on the brakes to stop just inches from the abyss. I asked Rick if he had heard if there was a VIP on board. It looked like we had a red flashing light escort after touchdown. Rick's just said how the fire crews feel that it's best to ride alongside each plane as it lands. That way they're right on the spot, they're right on the spot if something goes horribly wrong. The fireman must have noticed that the brakes were smoldering. I don't know. As I wiped the fire retardant foam off my jacket, well, I had to agree that the emergency crews had a darn good idea there. Rick said that the fire crews always like to carry, too, a long hook and a cable just in case an errant plane went into the Ohio River. He also boasted how multiple rescue boats are always on station, just in case. The beltways around Pittsburgh were pretty full and somewhat confusing for that time of night. We chalked it all up to it being Thanksgiving Eve. Rick drove through it all just fine, though. He actually worked for one of my favorite highways, the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I think he was in maintenance, so he was out there, almost every day, dodging tractor trailers and getting his hands dirty. And, well, Barbie cuddled up to him as he told of the massive Turnpike death march he had heard of earlier in the morning. This one had westbound traffic backed up from Harrisburg to Philadelphia. Rick thought that the Turnpike work crews might have caused that one when they were taking down the "Welcome to Pennsylvania and Have a Safe Summer" sign that stretched over that stretched over something like 10 lanes where the Turnpike approaches the Susquehanna River just south of Harrisburg. They had traffic down to one lane in each direction as they installed a new and very large Happy Thanksgiving sign showing the reigning governor of the Keystone State in a Santa hat smiling down as he carved a turkey. Rick didn't think that the stall drivers were very hip to the good wishes. I can imagine. Rick went on to say how he had heard that when the job was completed, removing the cones was like waving the green flag at the Indy 500. Folks had been sitting quite a while, and, well, many were under pressure, if you get what I mean. Folks were in dire need of a comfort station. I'm sure they were horrified to see on their maps that the nearest one was about 15 miles to the west, that one being the Somerset Howard Johnson's for westbounders. Imagine just casually riding westbound, ahead of the mob on that stretch of the Turnpike 5 miles west of Harrisburg Junction before the green flag was dropped and the automobile floodgates were open. Maybe a cool tune by Ray Charles was on the car radio. There was, hey, you and Martha just riding along. There was no need to be in a big hurry. The westward road looked clear for miles ahead as you just glanced casually into the rearview mirror. Your blood curdled as you saw, much to your horror, this approaching tidal wave of steel, rubber, and fumes coming fast from behind. You hit the gas, you tried, but there was no hope. They'd be on you in less than a minute. Your screams are drowned out by the engines roaring up to you from behind. Soon your car is going as fast as it can, but it's not enough. Red-faced drivers and passengers are getting their teeth, are gritting their teeth, and it looks like if you stop, they'll flatten you and your entire family. The demons from hell have only one thought in mind. They have mere seconds to get to either the men's room or the ladies' room at the Somerset Hojo's. Nothing else matters, not even life itself. A second and more possibly deadly jam, friends, started when the rest area filled up. This caused cars and trucks to stop in the approach lane. The jam spread onto the main thoroughfare. It took just minutes, and with all the unleashing of that westbound traffic for all lanes as far back east as Europe, to clog shut and to come to a dead stop. After being stuck in traffic for hours, most folks were not in a position to drive past the rest area where the jam originated. Like everyone else ahead of them, they had to stop too. Oh, it was an awful way to start the holiday season. The restrooms at the Howard Johnsons were usually big enough to handle 2 or 3 tour buses at once, but this situation went beyond their ability to perform. The restroom attendants did all they could. They were so brave that some fell by the wayside exhausted and were trampled. It was just too much for them and their equipment. For the lack of maybe 10 extra stalls, Thanksgiving would be delayed for millions. As we headed north out of Pittsburgh, Rick sighed and said how he wished the crew he was with back in the early fall hadn't cut down all those roadside bushes along that stretch of turnpike. Rick thought how those bushes might have saved the day. I was just glad I hit the men's room before we left the airport. Okay, we'll do part 3 tomorrow, chapter 3 tomorrow, okay? Hope you're enjoying, friends, and we'll see you later. Thank you.